Roboteers, stand by.
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of Roboteers Stand By, a robot combat podcast with your usual host, me, your good self, Rob Taylor Hastings, and sat opposite me on a TV screen computer thing, as always, is
Richard Perry.
Hello, Richard Perry, and we have a special guest again, don't we, Richard Perry?
We do indeed.
Undisputed 2 times UK champ. We'll talk about that more. Please welcome to the podcast, finally, Mr. Shane Lale.
Hello.
Very good. Very good. Well done. Welcome, Shane. Welcome. You are finally on the podcast.
Hi.
I know. It's been, I think the entire time we've been doing this, we've been saying, yeah, we'll get you on. We'll get you on.
He's just run out of better things to do.
I know. It took a global pandemic to actually go, okay, well, we'll do it. Yeah. I've got to say, I'm very jealous. A very sunny backdrop for you there, Shane. Congratulations on having outdoor space.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very nice. Getting the tan on.
Yeah, see that. Also, you're rocking a quarantine beard. Very nice.
Yep. Getting a bit bushy now, so.
Well, I mean, for those listening, we are talking about a face beard there, just so you know. Perry, you're very pixelated today, which is sad because we want to talk about the moss. Everyone wants to see that moss. Can you give us a moss update?
Moss in it.
There's moss in it.
Yeah.
Is it grown?
Probably. Just it said it didn't really do very much. I don't know why people want updates on it.
We're all very interested in your moss, mate. You're frozen now on here. God, this is not going well at all, is it? Shane, it'll just be you and me. We'll just let Perry hang around, talk about moss.
I was talking to myself about moss.
Yeah. So your moss hasn't grown. It's done nothing interesting. I'm shocked. We never saw that coming. Say that again, pixelated boy.
Shane, you a big fan of moss?
Not really.
Oh,
It's moss, isn't it?
I mean, thank you, Shane. That's my stance on the whole thing.
Fair.
So I mean, look, we've got you on because I think it's safe to say that if anyone is involved in the UK robot combat industry community, they'll probably know you. So we've got many questions for you. We're going to interview you quite intensely. So I hope you're ready for that.
Going to be very intense.
Yeah. Okay. Perry, I've prepped you. Go for it. You could do this. Imagine you're Robert Frost or whatever his name is, the Nixon thing. Frost Nixon.
I've written stuff down.
Oh God, this is gonna be good.
Right. Where you start?
Say that again. I can hear a word of you.
Honest to God, what I've written for number 1 is where you start. So I guess, where did you start in robot fighting?
Very good.
Well, I started watching it on TV. Series 2 is my earliest memory of it.
Don't talk about Series 2, Shane. You know this.
Yeah. We'll skip over that. Watched it. The only TV show I ever sat quietly and watched. Didn't care about anything else. Got bought all the toys. The only toys I ever played with. And then went to see Series 7 being filmed. We would have been on it if it wasn't for a family holiday. But if we would have known it was the last one, then we wouldn't have gone on the holiday. So, been watching it, and then we heard about a live event that was happening by Roaming Robots in Newark, which is not far from us. We went along, and we've not stopped since. That was 2002. So 18 years now I've been doing this. It's been my whole life.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what I mean, I'm curious. What was your first robot, Shano? You saw Series 7, and
Sort of seriously,
saw Series, yeah.
the first robot we entered into the arena was the remote control Matilda toy that you could get.
I remember that.
We used to stick that in with the featherweights, and it would get absolutely destroyed. And because I was a kid, every mother out there felt sorry and bought me a new one. And again,
You did
got
the
it out of the
same.
box.
Yeah, just put it in the arena to get destroyed.
Yep, got it out of the box. Went straight into the arena. Came out in pieces. Stuck it with gaffer tape and went back in. It was
Love it. I was about to jump in and say, oh my God, does the off the shelf toy combat worthy? But I'm guessing in no way was it combat worthy.
No. It did manage to sort of finish off a featherweight that was hanging on the edge of the pit, and it took a good 2 minutes to push it into the pit, but it did do it in the end. But yeah, it got smashed up so much, and my mum was like, I think we should just build him his own featherweight, in which my dad did. Yeah, it was just 2-wheel drive pusher to start off with, and then we went to the full body spinner, which we really enjoyed, which was Dizzy Tilly. That was our main robot at the time.
Oh, so you started off with a pusher, Perry. That's good news. Starting off on that's very much the route you're going down.
Yeah, it's a simple design to help you figure out how everything actually works.
Yeah,
I guess.
And how many Tilly robots toys did you think you got through?
We got through, I think, 3. The original one, the first one, kept going quite a while. We just kept layering it up in gaffer tape, and it kept going until it got a massive disc to the circuit board, and that sort of wrecked it. But yeah, stuck the circular and the shunts in there as well. But our main one was Matilda, and that's where my team name Team Tilly came from, was the Matilda. So that's how we started.
I like that. That's a good bit of insight. I mean, I was going to say I had the shunt and circular lot, and I'm kicking myself for not putting them in myself. Like, had I known, I would have. I was just driving them around the conservatory like a fool.
Yeah.
So, Dizzy Tilly.
Yeah.
Was that a featherweight?
Yeah, it was a featherweight full body spinner. It was pretty much the only full body spinner on the scene apart from Typhoon at the time, and then the TV show finished and Typhoon went away, and we were the only one left.
Oh wow! All right, Perry, are you still with us? I can't decide whether. Okay.
I think so.
Good. Yeah. I can see your hand. This is awful. Oh God, we're having technical problems. Oh, we're going to push through. It'll be fine.
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, well that's good then. I mean, I keep jumping in because I'm worried you can't hear us, Perry. But you go ahead. This is your thing, mate. I'm just going to sit back. Going to drink my coffee.
Is that Street Shark plug?
It is actually empty as well. I don't know why I even pretended to drink.
Well, as you've been active in the community since almost the very beginning, do you have any advice for people looking to get into it? Is buying a Matilda robot and just throwing it in with a load of featherweights still an effective option for getting into robot fighting?
Oh God, no. Nothing off the shelf toy wise will even withstand a 2-wheel drive pusher in the featherweights limit. Featherweights is probably one of a good place to start if you're looking to get into it. Obviously, there's a smaller weight classes, the beetle weights and the amp weights. Beetle weights again is a good starting point for anyone looking to get into it. But if I was giving advice to anyone, just keep it simple. There's no need to go straight in with a massive full pressure flipper straight away, because you could end up really hurting yourself if you don't know what you're doing. Just keep it simple to start off with. Come to an event, speak to all the Roboteers. Roboteers are sometimes nice. You get the odd feel.
Tell us now, Shane. Tell us the bad ones. Do it. Give us a bit of spice. Come on.
Yeah, I can't do that. But yeah, come to an event, speak to all the other Roboteers. They will advise you on what's good and what's not. If you're not doing something right, they will help you, not just say, you're an idiot, go away, leave me alone. Again, some might, but that's the wrong sort of impression we want to give to people wanting to get into this, because it's a fantastic sport to get into. I've enjoyed all my years of doing it, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. The people I've met doing it is, some of them are my closest friends now, so you really build friendships as well as getting to destroy each other's toys at the end of the day. That's what it's down to.
It does sound pretty good.
About.
When you say that, that does sound pretty good, actually. I'll give you that. That's reminded me. The last boot sale I went to, Perry, you'll like this. I sold my old TIE fighter, like, old one. And some bloke wanted to buy it off us for cheap because he was just going to use it as an air rifle practice. And I was outraged. I was outraged. Just reminded me. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so first of all, thank you for the outdoor setting, because we're getting a lovely bird song, which I think's a score that we should have for every episode from now on, I think, Perry.
Nice and relaxing.
Yeah. And can you show us?
Should replace our podcast with like an ASMR outdoor sounds track.
Yeah, let's not change the title or anything. We'll keep the intro the same, and then it'll just go straight into birdsong.
That could work.
I think so.
Again, can't be worse than the episodes we did on Series 2 of Robot Wars.
Yeah, it was just again. So that was your first, because this is the thing. We remember Series 2 being very different from when we first saw it, because we were blown away. Obviously, we've been spoiled by King of Bots and Battle Bots and most recent Robot Wars and whatnot. But I mean, what kind of feeling did you get? Can you remember the feeling you had as a kid when you first saw robots fighting each other?
Well, back on Series 2, there wasn't really much fighting, was there, in them episodes?
True.
But it was different. It was, I don't know, it was just, it got me hooked on the television, and I wouldn't speak, I wouldn't move out from my spot. It was literally, if I ever was being a nuisance, they'd just stick Robot Wars on and I'd just shut up and just watch it. It was just got me hooked and interested in engineering, and which is what we're missing really, is engineers. So I always like to give back and try and get people involved, because we need engineers. But yeah, it was strange. I just enjoyed watching it. It was, I don't know, it just got me hooked.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about wanting to get people involved. I mean, off the top of my head, I know you're involved with events like Robots Live, Bots, there's Techno event. Like, how many events do you actually? Have you got a full-time schedule just Robot Combat?
Not yet. I mean, that's a dream, but no one can do this full time apart from people who run the big events. So I crew for Robots Live. I help build the arenas. I'm an arena marshal, so I go in and disarm the robots after the fight. And then I provided the arena, and again was arena marshal for Bugglebots. And then I run Techno events, which is my own company, and I put on Beetleweight events up and down the country. We did 2 last year. Was hoping to do more this year, but can't really do that at the minute. But probably going to have a few events, hopefully at the end of the year, looking at venues currently, and then hopefully next year we can have a few more. But it's finding the right place to host an event, because there's so many teams, and again, some teams won't travel a great deal if it's just for one day. So it's finding the right balance of where to host an event and how many days you're going to host an event for. It's finding the right balance between the two. But yeah, I'm hopefully have a few more events at the end of the year, but we have to wait and see what happens with all this lockdown stuff. So
No idea what you're talking about. That's completely passed me by. Is
Well,
it?
hopefully, maybe we'll be able to enter some of these events.
Yep, always welcome.
With our beetle that we've done like little to no work on.
That's an overstatement, Perry. Christ.
Yeah, that is a massive overstatement. I haven't even
Yeah.
sat on a design yet.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it then. So, what's the best Bogglebot design, Shane? Come on. And Perry, this is your realm because, you're steaming ahead when it comes to beetle weights. Yeah, get the pen and paper out. What's the best beetle weight design? Come on.
Well, the current top two beetle weights that come to mind are K2 from Bogglebots and a robot called X301, which is a two-wheel drive drum bot, and it won the last two beetle weight championships. So it's won back-to-back championships. So it's a really good machine. There's a few good pushers out there. Captain Doom and Thunderchild from America, but they're sort of based on the kits that you can get in America. I'm just doing a podcast at the minute.
Hang on, have you got a live audience going on there, Shane?
Yeah. It's my next door neighbour. She's wanting to mow the lawn.
Oh no! I never thought we'd have that as a problem.
No. Yeah.
Put her on. Tell her no. Absolutely no. No, you can't. Give us half an hour.
Yeah.
So drum spinners or get a kit from America for a pusher.
Yeah. But there's again a few good pushers over in the UK. Some can be a good two-wheel drive pusher. It's just getting the right balance between. You've got to obviously be low enough to get underneath your opponent, but it's with drum spinners they sort of negate that in a way and just rip up and chuck everything into the air anyway. Me myself, I've got a vertical spinner beetle weight, and I'm currently in the process of building a beetle weight version of my middleweight UK Championship winning robot.
Oh, excellent segue, Shane. Very good. Let's talk about this, please. So well, I mean, as I said at the top there, definitely two-time UK champ, current holder of the two championships. I was there for the heavyweight one, but let's talk about the middleweight one. When, where, what happened? Tell us everything. Who did you win with? What were you wearing?
So my middleweight is F7. It was built about 2 years ago now, and it was one of the first middleweights in the UK to come back. Crackers and Smash were the first, but they were technically a cluster bot, so you didn't really count them one without the other. So, but it was the first middleweight to really come back and reboot the scene, as it were, because there weren't any middleweights around. So I built it to go to an event in India originally, but plans fell through in the end. So I was going to go over to America to compete in their middleweight scene. And again, I went over to China instead to fight with a heavyweight. So, and didn't end up going to America, but then took it to a few live events against heavyweights because that's all I could fight. Got sent into the air loads of times. And then we had a bit of time where we blew a speed controller in it, so we didn't really run it for a long time. And then the middleweight championships came around, and it was a shame because it was the same weekend as the UK champs 2 years ago, so I couldn't go to it like the first year. But November last year, it didn't clash with anything, so we went. Fixed it all up, ready to go, thinking we had a good chance because there wasn't very many middleweights around. We ended up losing the first round in a freeway after getting stuck under the pit tyre. So not a great start to the weekend, but we ended up coming through the losers melee, beating one of Crackers and Smash. I can't remember which one because they're both the same now. And then we ended up in the final against Team Gabriel's middleweight called Raphael, which is pretty much like Gabriel, but instead of the sword, it's got a horizontal spinner on it, and it's very, very lethal, caused loads of damage to the robot, and they ended up taking out one of the wheels, so I was stuck on one wheel for a good minute and a half of the fight, and then in the last 3 seconds I was sort of edging him towards the pit and was able to tease him in, and he went into the pit, and the rules state that if you're in the pit when cease is called, that's an instant KO, and right after cease he drove out of the pit, so it was a bit of luck involved, but you've got to have a bit of luck to win constantly. So we were very lucky that weekend. But yeah, it was a great day event. Lots of stress involved, as it always is.
Drama and controversy.
There was a bit like quite a few teams were saying Raphael had won, and kept coming up to me after saying, I don't think you should have won that. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. At the end of the day, rules are rules. You got to play to the rules you've given. And yeah, we were able to win our second UK Championship of the year.
That's amazing. I mean, as you say, luck only takes you so far, but to actually get to that position where you can have a stroke of luck in the final, you've clearly proved your skills and worth to be there. That's amazing. So your heavyweight champ was a close call as well, if I recall.
Yeah, it was again a quite stressful weekend, because obviously, as well as competing, I was arena marshalling for Robots Live. So as much time as I wanted to spend on the robot, not that I needed to, but I couldn't anyway because of running the show. Luckily, it's not technically my robot. It was Team Iron Ore, who sort of pay me to drive their robot in a way.
Big up to Gilbert.
Yeah, they've built a fantastic machine in Iron Ore 6. Yes, it's exactly the same as Iron Ore 5, but there are a few different tweaks involved.
There's different paints at least.
They're different paints, but a few of the internals are different. They tried out something new in 6 and it worked. It's probably the most powerful flipper in the UK, apart from Apollo, but we can't really go one-on-one with Apollo because he doesn't like to fight anyone apart from Vulcan at the minute.
Very true. It's very true. I mean, I think that's going to change once we finally get out to BattleBots this year and we get Orion. I think the young boys are going to. That's the youngs in the family, not young boys. The young boys are going to go crazy. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So we were there. You were there, Perry, as well on that. I believe because
one of the days.
Well, of course, yeah. Because I listened back to when I was doing the edit of the podcast, and Michael, because the final was yourself with Iron Ore 6 and Michael with Eruption. And earlier in that weekend, he'd said, I want to make sure I'm in the closest corner when we start because it's got that polycarb and no one's going to flip anyone through the polycarb. And that's precisely how you beat him in the final. I loved it.
Yeah. Robots Live have changed the arena quite a bit to stop the quite fast fights and make it more of a driving match, which is fantastic. That's what I like to do. Nothing proves you the best unless you're driving against the best. And me and Michael have had a a real 3-minute head-to-head pure driving match, and it's been one of the best matches ever. But the final was, it's a bit of a blur at the minute, but yeah, it was such a fast fight. You can't really predict what's going to happen. So in, I think, the semi-finals or the quarterfinals, I threw iron ore 5 or one of the iron ores into that screen, and it actually broke. Obviously, we fixed it as good as best we can at the time, but obviously it wasn't strong enough to withstand another robot being chucked at it. So when I eventually got underneath Michael and chucked him into it, he ended up breaking. Again, it's a bit of luck involved, but to stop Michael, you do have to have a bit of luck on your side. He's a fantastic driver, and Eruption's one of the best machines going. But it's always nice to beat him. It's not very nice to lose against him, like I have done in the past. But it's been a real tussle between us two for the past few years. We've always been first and second at events, and some have been close, some have not been close. And luckily on that weekend it wasn't very close, and it went in my favour.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, 20 seconds, if I recall, and it was amazing. I mean, as a host of that show, livid because I'd been bigging it up for 5 minutes. As a fan and as a friend, as knowing how long you've been angling for that championship, I was emotional. I'll tell you that. I teared up. I don't care what's going on with you, Shane. I definitely got a bit weeping. It was great just to see the.
I was on the floor. It was just after so many years getting close, and I think I've come second about 5 times, and after coming second at the featherweight champs earlier in the year, it's like, oh, I'm gonna come second again here. But yeah, it was a whole flood of emotions just came out at the time, and just ended up on the floor in tears. And it's just, yeah, it meant a lot because we've worked so hard to get even close to that, and to come out with a win against someone like Michael, just, yeah, it was amazing.
Now, was this more than a dream? Was it a goal to actually get UK champ? You know, when you were watching Series 2 or when you tried to get into Series 7, did you ever think that you would get to the point where you were 2 times UK champion, middle and heavyweight?
Obviously, you want to be the best you can, and I always set out from the start to get as close as I can to the top, if not the top. To actually think that I could have done it, I don't think I would have done it if it wasn't for driving Iron 06. Iron 06 is one of the best machines going, and the only thing that really let it down was, no offence, Gilbert, but the driving. He's not a great driver as Gilbert.
We could build a mean machine.
He can build a fantastic machine.
Here's the question. Now, you said there was an upgrade in between Iron 5 and Iron 6. Here is my genuine question. Is Gilbert actually perfecting his robots, or is he just hoarding robots and he's going to never stop?
An army.
I think he's made it because, yeah.
He currently has 3. So 5 and 6 look pretty much identical on the outside. The front ends are a bit different, but there's different pneumatics involved between the two. There's like 1 or 2 different components involved, which gives Iron 6 even more a better flipper on it, really. And then Iron 8 is completely different. It's still a wedge flipper, which some people find boring, but it's changing the sort of design of the iron ores and evolving with the times, and hopefully be able to fight spinners when we can fight spinners with it. That was the idea for it. It was built for Robot Wars.
Was it really? Iron 8 was built for Robot Wars.
Yeah, it was built for if there was going to be a next series after Ep6 went on the last one. I can't even remember the number. 10, I think, or 11.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
it was 10. Yeah, we have to ask the question. Everyone's thinking. Then what happened to Iron 7?
Ep7 was sold to the guys from Deviator.
Oh,
So they now own it, run it in the shows over in Ireland, and they took it over to China to fight over there. It's now Deviator, spelled with like iron ore, but it's
good.
I like that.
So Perry, are you inspired being a budding Antweight Roboteer now? Looking at Shane, that's where you could be in 12 years if you play your cards right.
Oh, it's gonna take a lot of work. I wouldn't dream to aspire to such lofty heights. But I think if I can get something that moves, that I can get in a fight, and it'll get destroyed, then yeah, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I could see you there, Perry. I could definitely. So, Shane, would you have been in America with BattleBots right now had the COVID not happened?
I wouldn't be. We applied with our own robot this time, because last time I went out with Nelly the Ellie bot. Obviously, it didn't go very well for Nelly, but I met some amazing people.
You got to flex your. You got to practice rebuilding a robot at least. That's something.
Yeah, rebuilt. Well, we finished building it when we got there. Then rebuilt it, and then rebuilt it again. So
Great. What practice?
I know how that machine goes together now. But yeah, we applied with our own robot. We unfortunately didn't get on, which was a shame. I got offers to join a few teams, but I've just started a new job, so financially I couldn't really afford to go out for 2 weeks.
Be right back.
What are you doing? Where are you going, Perry? What are you doing?
There's someone at the door.
Oh, for God's sake! There's been neighbours, there's birds, there's the thing at the door. Right now, Perry's gone. Finally, thank God he's gone. Well, yeah, I was in a similar situation actually. With Team Switch, I just started a new job, and that was one of the biggest decisions of my life. Of like, God, this is a dream to go to and do BattleBots, but I've got to be boring and an adult. This sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the robot? Can you tell us what you entered that didn't quite get?
It was a dual armed sawbot, sort of like Sawblaze and Scorpios, but with 2 arms instead of 1.
Perry, did you hear that?
I heard Sawbot 2 arms instead of 1.
Correct. This is what Shane was going to enter, a 2-armed sawbot.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it would have been. There was a special theme involved, which would have been cool, but I don't think the producers enjoyed it that much. So
what was the theme then? Was it some sort of X-rated?
It was American football theme, because I used to play it at university, so I really enjoyed American football.
I have no idea of what that involved. What position do they have positions? What player?
So there's 2. There's an offense and a defense, and there's different positions on both sides. So I was a receiver on the offense. So basically, the guy with the ball threw it to me. I would catch it and then just run.
You're the guy that gets like smashed into a
that was me. Hence why one of my fingers is no longer straight or cannot be straight. It's sort of an angle. That's as straight as it goes. A few concussions, dislocated shoulders. So yeah, I was in the wars myself instead of the robots this time. So
all right, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I thought we'd make the robot sort of that theme because it's popular over there. It might be enjoyed, but not by the producers from the looks of it. So,
well, there's always next year or whatever.
I mean, I'd really like to go with my own team, just because when you're involved in someone else's team, it's not a pure measure of your talents. It's a combination of the whole team. So that's why I want to really go on my own team instead of with someone else to prove that we can make good robots.
I mean, I could see you going there. I mean, I could definitely, having done what you've done in the UK, it's only a matter of time. Big question, Perry, what was at the door? What, tell us, did you get a delivery?
Yes.
Oh, can you give us an exclusive? What was at your front door?
I don't know. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, are we going to turn this into an unboxing video?
No.
Damn it. I'm trying here, Perry. I'm just trying, all right? Trying to get some new content. Now, Shane, you showed us before we recorded what you're looking at in the garden, which is a lawn full of interesting bits and bobs. Can we have a little cheeky peek?
Yeah. So
Thank you. For those listening,
my phone,
this is going to be awful for you guys, but I'll try and describe what we're seeing.
so my phone is currently being rested on UFO from
Very
Series
nice.
7.
Lovely.
Fantastic.
Which I'm currently rewiring at the time. And then we have my middleweight UK Championship winning robot.
Oh, that's the one, is it?
I think you can see.
Some sort of, it's a, for those listening, it's a lovely red wedge. I'm not good at this. Oh, I think we're moving more and more away from Shane's router. This may have been a mistake.
Yeah.
We've lost him.
Bad mistake.
We've lost him. Go back to UFO. We lost you on. I think your router range wasn't quite as shared. There we go. Lovely though. I remember UFO. You took UFO to Dick and Dom's Great Wonderfest in Isle of Wight when we went there.
Yeah. I think it lasted one fight before the speed controller packed up. So we're wiring in a new one, a bigger one. Put some new motors in it as well. Because the motors we had in it at the Wonderfest was actually out of my middleweight. So I had to put them back in the middleweight for the championships. So we bought some new motors to go in UFO, and hopefully that should be running at events whenever they happen.
I like it. I mean, Perry, this has got to be great for you. Surely there's many things you want to be asking Shane here. What competitions you can get into? What tips and tricks he can give you? I mean, this man's pulling motors out of one and sticking it in the other. He's ad hocking robots together. It's a dream.
I mean, me asking what types of speed controllers are like decent for various weight classes is probably not going to generate particularly great content.
I mean, Perry, it's this podcast.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll take what we can get.
Actually,
so what speed controllers are good for beetle weights, just out of interest?
Christ, this is worse than Moss.
So in beetle weights, there's probably a few you could use. The main one that people use are Vex 29s, which are really small. A lot of teams are using brushless motors for drive, so there's obviously a few different types of brushless controllers you can use. The Vex 29s tend to be the main one for brushed motors. They're the ones I use. And for a simple pusher, you can't really go wrong with them. A lot of the...
Can they take... would you run those on like 3-cell or 4-cell lipos?
They could probably run on 3-cell, I believe. Not
I'm so
4-cell.
sorry, ladies and gents. I'm so sorry about this. I can't apologise more.
You started this.
I know. I encouraged it. Sorry. When you start talking about lipos, I glazed over. I went cross-eyed. I'm sorry. Get your moss out again. That's way more interesting. You're less pixelated now. We can see it.
So, Rob, how's your amp weight going?
Sorry, you broke up there, Perry. Couldn't hear.
Your amp weight that you
Keep breaking up, mate. Can't hear a word you're saying.
How's that going?
Oh, sorry. What? Bread?
Done anything to it at all?
Well, you're breaking up, mate. This is awful.
Don't make me get the moss out.
I want to see it now. Can actually see. I think it's grown, mate. Are you keeping record? Are you tracking it?
No, moss.
You might have grown, mate. Shano, how many robots have you actually driven? Can you in a competition? Do you know? Because I'm trying to keep track of them, and there's millions.
Yeah, there is.
I've got a toy Tilly. I've got Dizzy Tilly.
So we had Matilda to start off with, we had a robot called Pushability.
Very nice.
And then Dizzy Tilly, we had Tilly's Revenge. We then had Tilly U2, which is, we ended up buying the robot U2, the heavyweight. We just added Tilly in front of it. Then we made our own version called Tilly Evo. Then we had Tilly XP, which is a front hinge flipper, sort of like UFO, similar sort of shape. Then we had Tilly U3, which was a version of U2 but different. Then we had F7, then we had UFO, but I've driven Mega Mouse for Team Mouse, Beast for Team Beast, 3 Iron Ores I've driven. I've driven a few robots in testing. Like, some people take their robots to the arena and test their. I just walk up and casually go, "Can I have a drive?" And they go, "Yeah, go on then." We have our featherweights at the minute. A new version of Pushability, which is currently second in the featherweight UK champs. A robot called Red Hot Tilly Pecker, which is an axe.
That wins. That's winning so far for the names.
It's a great robot. It's
Very
so
good.
much fun to ride. We have our beta weights. We have Dr. Flackenstein, which is my fiance's robot that was on Bullbots season 1.
Nice. Oh, so you're making it a family affair then?
Yeah. We have my beta weight Endgame, not Endgame, End Boss, which is a mini version of Endgame. And then obviously I'm building a beta weight F7, a featherweight F7, and then maybe a heavyweight F7 if we have.
Sweet Christ, how do you have to? I lost count of 15 there. That's Perry, up your game for Christ's sake. I don't know why I've been so impressed by yours. So,
Big words from the man who hasn't even built a single thing.
you don't have proof. So are they all just been? Are they all in your shed, or have they been kind of? Are ones built from old ones? You kind of recycle parts?
Yeah. So Tilly U3 was made of parts from Tilly U2.
I mean, that makes sense.
We've got the remains of the chassis behind the shed because it doesn't actually fit in the shed. But yeah, they sort of all live in the tiny shed that we've got. But we've got a few like chassis just here, there, and everywhere, really.
So what you're saying is, if Perry was really nice, he could probably grab one off you there for a good price. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know how good they would be. They're pretty wrecked, hence why they're not.
Hey, he's desperate. He'll take anything, Shane.
He is right. I'm desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have a few. We've got a few different featherweight components just together.
All right, Perry, you write out a blank check and let Shane do the rest. That'll be fun. Also, Perry, do you want to ask Shane about techno events? Is that something you want to talk about?
Yes, I do.
Just looking at the notes we made yesterday. Is that something?
Done that.
It's going to tick that off. Tick that off.
That's you were supposed to ask that.
What, techno events? No, that's you, mate.
No, something else.
Oh yeah, no.
So yeah, techno events.
Oh well, okay, yeah, we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah. Tell us about it, the kind of stuff you do, and I mean, I think we've already covered a bit of it earlier on, but tell us about techno events and the kind of stuff that you do and the stuff that you want to do and where you.
So we started techno events last year as just basically a beta weight event organizer, really. We took over from Kinematic Events, which was the old Pussycat team. They just didn't have time to run the events like they wanted, so they were selling all the arenas, the pay-to-drive kits that they had, and I got quite a bit of money from China at the time that we didn't really need to spend on robots, so we invested it in our own events company. So we got the whole arena and a pay to drive set. And then last year we found out, we heard about Bugglebots becoming a thing, and they contacted me because they knew I was taking over the arena from Kinematic Events, and basically asked if I wanted to be involved in it. And Robot Wars was done, so I jumped at the chance to keep robot combat alive in the community, whether that's through YouTube or live events. We need somewhere to fight robots, and that's what I wanted to provide. So we did the first season of Bugglebots. There was a few improvements that I wanted to make to the arena. We ended up doing a few of them for season 2, and then we have a few more in the pipeline for season 3, if and when. Still waiting to hear when that might be. But I'm also doing a few scouting events with my local scout group because I'm the club leader there. So I've taken the arena along as well as the pay to drive robots, and they basically drove around for an hour fighting in teams, doing different challenges. And then coming up this year, we had planned on a kit design that I was making, so I could go into the scout groups and basically give them a bunch of components, and they make their own robots and then fight them at the end of the evening. So we've got that coming up this year. Doing a lot of fundraising events with the scout group as well to raise funds for them, and then running events for the community as well. We did one in Edinburgh in November last year, and then we had the FRA Championships as well last year that we hosted. I think we had over 40 robots there in the end.
Wow.
It was a massive competition, a really long day. There was talks of getting quite a famous host to come in and do it, but eventually he couldn't do it. Something about work, I don't know. But yeah, it was a good event, and then we're hopefully going on and doing more events this year when the lockdown is finished, and we can all join up and see each other again and play robots.
We will see each other again. It's a real shame that Craig Charles couldn't make that event.
This guy was more famous than Craig Charles.
Was he? Wow, what a famous guy. No one's more famous than Craig Charles. I think we're all thinking, do you have a Cub Scout leader name? Because I know that my Cub Scout leader did.
So most of the Cub Scout leaders are actually called Arcala, after the Jungle Book. So that's what I go by. That's what all the Cub Scouts call me.
Wait, sorry, call you. What? I didn't catch the name.
Arcala.
Okay, is that in the cartoon of Jungle Book? Arcala?
It's the leader of the wolf pack.
You know that, didn't you, Perry? I can see by your face.
I'm very disappointed at your lack of literary knowledge.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't read all the books.
Just one would be nice.
I'm reading one.
Are you?
It's still the Lovecraft omnibus from 2 weeks ago. I'm getting like a page a day. It's very spooky. Arcala's a way better Cub Scout name, leader. My leader was called Rainbow Warrior.
I don't think you were in the Cub Scouts, Rob.
Actually, you're right. I wasn't in the Cub Scouts. I was in the Beavers.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I was a Beaver for half a year.
I went all the way up to Venture Scouts.
Don't lie. What's a Venture Scout? Don't make things up. Just make it sound cooler.
Like you got Beavers, then you got Cubs, then you got Scouts, then you got Venture Scouts.
Is that true, Shane? Shane, is that true?
As it's renamed when I...
They've been renamed now, so they're Explorer Scouts now. And then there's one up from that, which technically I'm still part of as well, which is Network Scouts.
Network? Hang on, that sounds like you've gone from the wilds and then you've gone to a business meeting. Adventure Scouts to Network Scouts.
It's not a business meeting, it's just a pub where we drink, basically.
Oh. That's pretty good.
It's the 18 to 25 bracket of scouting, and then we just meet at a pub and play board games.
And at what point do you graduate to scouting for girls?
Never.
Oh, right. So a shame. Just listen to them today. Scouting for Girls, 2005, 2006 classics. Come on, guys. We all know them. Anyone? Perry? No?
Don't know what you're talking about.
Christ's sake, useless. Cool. Well, I mean, Shane, thank you for being on. Is there anything you'd like to promote to me and Perry and maybe even Richard Smith? Go on, Perry. You're going to say something. Hang on. What are you going to say, Perry? Go on.
While we've got you, one very important question. Flipper, axe, or spinner?
Very good. Very good.
What are you feeling?
What are you feeling? What's your general feeling?
Right now, I would be feeling front hinge flipper, seeing as though that is what I've been staring at for the past hour.
That's fair enough.
My phone is currently resting on it.
That's fair. That's fair. And it is customary and quite polite, Shane, when you've been asked this question, to ask back to the questioner the same question. So if you'd like to bat it back at Perry.
What are you feeling, Perry? Flipper, axe, spinner?
I like the sound of your double saw thing. That sounded cool. I'm going.
It's a good idea. I'll send you a photo of our idea, so you can steal it.
It was that'll be his beetle weight.
Be impressive if you could get that in the weight.
Always looking for ideas to steal.
Yeah, always.
I could get it in the weight. It'd be made of cheese, but I could do it.
Oh, that's just reminded me. We've got some cheese in the fridge. Thanks for that, Perry. So I mean, that's true. You can make it out of that. So yes, Shane, do you have any things you would like to promote while you're on this colossal platform?
Obviously, visit Techno Events Facebook page, Team Tilly Robotics, I think we're called now on Facebook. Posting updates on there on what we're doing. If we've got any events coming up, which we don't currently have at the minute, but I'm sure there will be soon. Check them out. Give them a like.
There you go. You heard it here first, team. If you don't all do that, I disown you. And so does Perry. Don't you, Perry?
Sure. Definitely.
Fine. Well, we've had people at the door. We've had disgruntled neighbours, birds, connectivity problems. It's been an absolute shit show. Thanks, boys. We'll say this. Shane's a champ. Surely no one can deny. But best of all, he's been here with us and Roboteers stand by. We'll see you all next week. Wave. Wave.